Oh, hello. Hey guys, this is Kyle, aka Vulcan Wolverine, aka Vulcan Wolverine 2. It is 4:45 p.m. on August 6th, 2019. I was going to do a live stream, but as people know, Google Hangouts is gone. So I'm going to have to figure that all out. I downloaded Zoom, but I'm just not sure how to connect it with YouTube and also screen share and stuff like that. So that's going to be kind of the next thing, that I work on, the next thing that I get done. But I did just really want to, I just wanted to really quickly go over this really important interview that somebody sent me. Thank you, Jen, for sending me this. This is from Victoris Libertas VLTV. I'd really suggest everybody subscribe to them and check out their interviews. I haven't seen many of their interviews until somebody sent me this interview with John McAfee, which he says a ton of important stuff. And look at what he's sitting in right now. He's sitting in a Faraday cage, which he explains like, and I'll show you. I'll play that clip. And he doesn't necessarily say that he's targeted with directed energy weapons. I think he is. I think he is definitely, but he doesn't go into that because I think he's very smart. He knows that people are just going to think that's crazy. Um, I think we all have to talk about it, but certain people are choosing, not to go into that so much, but to go into the other surveillance things that people can digest and kind of, get them awake that way. Before I start on that, I just wanted to mention. So I've been using the noise canceling the noise canceling hearing aids for 3 days now. Um, Almost too good to be true. What's going on? I still hear the V. It's weird because when I lay down for bed, I hear the V2K less. It seems like the hearing aids are more effective when I'm laying down, and then when I'm up, I can kind of hear. I can hear the V2K a little bit, but I cannot understand what they're saying at all. And the other thing that I didn't even think would happen, last night I went to sleep. I've had the hearing aids. I've only taken them out to take a bath and stuff like that. Um, but I had them in. I didn't use Dave Case's CD. I didn't use my grounding. Didn't put my grounding on last night, and I woke up without pain, without the pain in the left side of my body and everything like that, without the grounding on. Feeling better than I usually do when I'm using Dave Case's CD and the grounding. So I don't. It doesn't feel like my attackers are playing some kind of long game with me. It really seems to be interfering much more than I even thought it could. But I'm still going to try it for the long term and let y'all know. But right now, it's like, wow, this is too good to be true. This is really too good to be true. It's interfering in some of the remote neural manipulation, things going on with my emotions and stuff like that. And the pain, the severe pain in my nervous system. I can feel it. Like my attackers will kind of try and pump it up a little bit. I'll kind of hear the high pitched sound along with the white noise that the noise canceling hearing aid's doing, and then I'll get like a pain in my back a little bit, like a dull pain, but then it'll dissipate. So it seems like my attackers are trying to kind of get through. I don't know, they adapt to stuff because they have so much time, but I'm just trying to, I'm trying to just enjoy it right now, and I definitely, want to let y'all know that it seems to be working very well. And I think we need to get more targeted individuals, just like Dave Case's CD or the grounding, but seems to be working better. And it's no, not downplaying how important Dave Case's CD is, but it seems to be very, very effective, and I think a lot of targeted individuals should try this. I'm really above recommendation. I don't want to beg or anything like that, but more than recommend. I think a lot of targeted individuals need to try this. It's really too amazing. Seems too good to be true. I'm kind of waiting. I believe in y'all know I believe in miracles. So I'm like, wow, this is a miracle that was already there. It's like one of those, but I'm like, I don't want to. I don't want to be like, oh, okay, it's over, and this solves it because we know our attackers can adapt. But I just want to tell y'all it's working very well. There was something else that I needed to say too. I can't remember. I can't remember, but Yeah, I'm gonna get the live stream worked out pretty soon, but I just wanted to do a quick commentary on this John McAfee interview. One thing I do want to say real quickly with the hearing aids, it is kind of weird. Like even right now, I'm getting this reverberation of my own voice, not from the not from the neuroweapons attacks. You know, they kind of will do that inner voice when you say something, they'll repeat it in your inner voice or repeat it in V2K. I'm getting a reverberation from the hearing aids because I've turned them up all the way so that outside noises are digitally amplified into my ear, because it seems to affect the V2K more. It seems to interfere with that more. But I think even if you turn them down to the lowest setting, it's putting out this cancellation frequency to the ear and only allowing the inner ear to hear what is digitally amplified. So if you turn it down to the low volume, I think that you wouldn't get the reverberation as much, but it would still be emitting that canceling frequency into the ear, which seems to be super important to this whole thing, to the attacks, like not the external attacks, the microwave external attacks that hit us, but when they're trying to entrain the brain and train the nervous system, the inner ear seems to be the area that we want to focus on a lot, like interfering frequencies, canceling frequencies, and stuff like that. It seems to be where I've had the most luck, and I think a lot of other target individuals have had the most luck with canceling out the, like the high-pitched tinnitus sound, and like, injecting visuals and things like that with the neuroweapons. There was something else that was kind of important. I'll remember it another time. I'm gonna really work on getting that together. I do have, I used to be really good at just figuring out stuff real quick, and hooking it up because I worked at Dell. But I'm so tired. Hopefully, today I feel like I have extra energy, so I definitely wanted to make a video. Yeah, I'm trying not to be like, oh, when's the shoe gonna drop? Are my attackers screwing with me? Because it doesn't feel like that. But I also don't, it just, okay, I'll just bottom line it. It seems to be working very well. And I'm happy. I'm very happy for that, and I really think other targeted individuals need to try it. It's not that expensive for something this important that I feel like is really affecting this stuff. $50 or $80 is nothing, right? But still, we're a lot of us are living on a shoestring. Even though I have some, for my Social Security, have some resources. I know a lot of targeted individuals just have barely any money to their name to even eat. But okay, so let me get into it, guys. This is a great interview. I do want to start out, because I'm not going to play the part where he talks about Bitcoin. He talks about cryptocurrencies. You guys can go to this interview. It's Outlaw for Freedom, epic interview with John McAfee, whatever that is. Pound hashtag VLTV on Victuris Libertas VLTV, and I'll put the link in the description for it. They talk a lot about cryptocurrency. I'll be honest with you guys. I've heard a lot about cryptocurrency, and I've never really delved into it or got any of it myself. A lot of people I know have, and they really trust in it to be this new form of currency that can fix things. I'm a little bit wary because it depends on who owns it, right? It depends on who owns Bitcoin. It depends on who owns the other types of cryptocurrency, because it's encrypted currency. So if somebody good owns it and they have good rules for keeping it private, it seems like a good idea. But to me, it also seems like some corporations that are involved in the evil system can buy up those cryptocurrency companies and then and manipulate the markets, right? Just like anything else. Am I missing something here? If somebody knows a lot about cryptocurrency, can you please comment on why everybody, because John McAfee thinks it's like this awesome thing. A lot of smart people are saying that this is a saving grace for our economy, where you can where it's not going to be so controlled by the pyramidal system, right? And your finances will be private, will be more private. I'm seeing that it can still be manipulated. That's what I'm thinking. But so many smart people are, not giving any indication of that. I need to talk to some more people about it. Maybe I'm just not seeing the whole picture. because I think this can be manipulated even more. It's weird because so many people are saying it's great, so I need to learn more about it. But I'm kind of thinking that it's like this could be manipulated more than regular money because it's all computer based, and people could just create money to manipulate those systems. So maybe there's something I'm missing. A lot of really smart people say that it's very good though. So I need to learn more. I think the bottom line is I need to learn more. I'm bottom lining things, because things are so confusing and complicated, especially the evils going on in society. So I try and kind of bottom line things. Bottom line, I need to learn about it more and see if I want to get involved in it. But I've always just thought it was something that could maybe even be like right now with good ownership and owners that are like keeping the information private and letting people freely exchange. It seems good, but it seems like that could be really manipulated if the wrong person bought up these companies, right? I don't know. Somebody. I'll talk to some people on that. But leave a comment if you want to comment about like Bitcoin being so great and why it can't be corrupted. I'd really like to hear that point of view. Okay, so I'm just gonna play two parts of this. They're long. They're pretty long parts, but John McAfee's a very wise man. As you see, he's in a Faraday bunker. He explains some of that as that it can't block Wi-Fi, but it can block this other type of. He'll talk about it. I forgot what it's called. I think he's also targeted by neuroweapons and directed energy weapons. They're on him. The military-industrial complex, which he'll talk about, is very much wants him to shut up because he's talking about how all these back doors into our technology and our computers and everything is so bad, and that we need more privacy, and privacy is so important. And he's very smart when he speaks about it. He's also running for president in 2020, which is awesome. We need we need some outspoken people, vying for leadership, throwing their hat in the ring, and he's somebody who is doing that. So let me play this real quick, and I just wanted to kind of comment on it. But y'all definitely go out and check out the whole interview. Thank you, Jennifer, for sending this to me because I probably wouldn't have seen it. It's so much stuff is going on. So many people are speaking out against corruption and crime, this targeting, loss of privacy, just all kinds of corruption. He also speaks on that. He says some important things. So before I respond to what he's saying, let's hear him say some of the stuff.
The forefront. Grab Apollo, grab Monero, grab Zcash if you're technically aware. But no, I'm not promoting anything. I'm just explaining the crypto sphere and the landscape as it exists.
Have you ever considered creating your own cryptocurrency?
Absolutely, but I think that's over now that I am seriously on the run in a Faraday cage. So.
But you're not holed up. You're not holed up in the Faraday cage like there was a story saying.
What idiot would live in a Faraday cage? No, this is our communication center. Okay, here. Okay, you can. Let me just. No, don't move that. Don't move that. Oh, is it room?
You realize I'm joking because I had
all of the articles that are out there speculating everything.
We have an 8-channel scrambler.
Yeah.
That scrambles just in case something happens and the cage fails. The scrambler scrambles all communication except for Wi-Fi. It scrambles WiMAX, which is that. A lot of people don't even know that WiMAX exists. It's a 35-mile radius Wi-Fi that the government is having manufacturers insert into their phones so that they can surreptitiously turn it on.
So he's talking about WiMAX, and he's saying that devices are put into our iPhones so that governmental agencies, the military-industrial complex, can from 35-mile radius, tap into those devices, and it's something more powerful than Wi-Fi. I still think that he's being targeted. I think he's smart enough to know he was being targeted if he was. But what he's saying right now is it's to buffer any kind of breakthrough in his communications, right? hacking into his computer or his phone or anything, right, with his communication. So that's why he's saying he's doing that. I think there's more to it, but that's what he's saying. Because he looks kind of tired. He's just he kind of I get this feeling like, okay, he must be targeted, but he does if anybody has another video, guys, if there's another video where John McAfee's like, yeah, I'm being targeted with neuroweapons, directed energy weapons, please send it to me. Because they're really going after him. He's on the run. I don't know where he is right now, but it just seems like they would do that to him. They try and scramble his brain too, because that's what they do to shut people up. I did want to mention this too. I think with my targeting, I got implanted with something at Ochsner when I was like 12, so it began with experimentation, right? But now it's kind of blended into trying to shut me up about this and experimentation. I see John McAfee as a person where if they were targeting him, it would have started out as him being a whistleblower and they're trying to shut him up, but then it would maybe blend in to experimenting with how to shut smart people up, right? So I just wanted to kind of mention that with targeting, that sometimes it starts out as something, but then blends in with other reasons for the targeting. And it can do that from the opposite way with somebody else. Because like with me, I think it was experimentation, but then I started speaking out about this stuff, and they want me to shut up about it, right? And they're still experimenting along the way. Some people, they may want to shut up first. They weren't going to experiment on them, but they started talking about something really important. They start targeting them, but then it's like they're also trying to collect data in ways to shut smart people up who are very influential. So I did want to mention that. I really get the feeling that he's targeted, but he's not talking about that. If he is, he's talking about hacking, the military-industrial complex, hacking his communications and things like that to get information about where he is, his IP address and things like that. Just super, not interesting in a good way, but it's interesting how he's in a Faraday bunker, So let's listen to him a little bit more on this one. He says some really smart stuff.
And listen to you from 30 miles away for
Wow.
communication. So anyway, so it cancels the WiMAX, the telephone, LTE, GSM, everything except Wi-Fi. And the Wi-Fi, as I said, is a private network spanning multiple countries. It's not some public thing, so no one even knows that these IP addresses exist. So it would be difficult to find my ass in Genesis. Just find it exists.
Hey, John, what's gone wrong in America?
Ugh. That's going to be a
What's
long
gone wrong?
conversation.
What happened?
It's a big question.
All right, that's a tricky question, and it's a very subtle question. I think two things: laziness and complacency. The world, Dwight Eisenhower, when he left office, warned us against something he called the military-industrial complex. What he was talking about is the industrial connection with.
I would say, and we're going to listen to his response because he's a very smart man, but I would say he just answered the question. I'd say he just answered the question for the biggest problem in the world is our military-industrial complexes that are experimenting on people, causing wars and everything like that. And of course, there's something above them, right, that's pulling the strings. Why is this country going to war with this country? Why is this country experimenting on their own citizens and things like that? But I think a military-industrial complex is what's wrong. But then, there's also a lot of other variables. What he says about people being complacent. They're lazy and complacent, and it's social engineering. Our forefathers and people that lived so long ago, they worked all the time, and when something threatened their way of life, they were ready to go. They were ready to fight it. And even me, on a certain level, like I'm being well today, I feel actually good. I feel like I'm really blocking it, but I'm being tortured. So it's like even me, I'm sitting in my condo because I'm like, how do I fight this? And of course I'm doing activism and things like that, but it seems like a long time ago, people got off their asses. They met and they said, hey, if something tyrannical is happening, we're going to go to war. And it just doesn't seem like that can be that's being pulled together in our society. Maybe it will be. Maybe it won't come to that. Maybe if enough people become aware, it won't come to that. But I feel like our society is really lacking that, and I think a lot of you guys agree with that.
With the military, which really is the government in most cases, is it not? That has turned into, instead of the industrial part, building tanks and planes and everything else, and getting sweet contracts with the military and making arrangements and shaking hands and kickbacks and all of that crap, it's now companies like Google and Facebook and Twitter, the giants of the information industry. And instead of the kickbacks and this or that, it's the Justice Department sneakily going in and twisting arms, saying, we need to know what's actually happening with your user base. What are they really talking about? What if they're criminals? Well, so what?
And they're using all that data.
Every advance in technology has been accompanied by the use of that advance by criminals. Automobiles. When automobiles really blossomed into America in the 30s, what happened? A huge boom in bank robberies. Why? Getaway cars. Before that, you could rob a bank, but what are you going to do? Run out of town? They chase your ass? Hell no. You got a car sitting outside the bank with the engine running, a driver in it, run out of the bank, get in the car, and you're out of town. So bank robberies increased by a factor of 1,000. Now, should we not have automobiles? Please God, no. The law enforcement.
That is such a good point. That is such a good point, and I think you could make a correlation with these neuroweapons, but it's like, it's like any kind of new technology, right? He's saying that any kind of new technology, criminals start to use it. Criminals start to use it a lot, and it's, it's still good technology, but that's just what happens. And I feel like it's not just organized crime or some lone criminals using these neuroweapons and directed energy weapons, but it's the military-industrial complex. It's these agencies trying to make as much money and advance the weapons and get as much power as they can, being criminals basically, but having this kind of like, oh, well, it's national security and we have clearances, so the public can't do anything about our crimes, but it's still that way, right? So, and I think after a while, it's like it kind of evens out when the public learns about these dangers of these technologies, then the authority figures take care of it. In our situation, it's like so many people are corrupt and working along with the system. I don't know how that's going to look. I don't know how that's going to work. But it seems like in everything else, all other technologies that have been abused, things have evened out, and the public has jumped in and gotten a hold of it, and there have been regulations on things, right? And ways to stop criminals, even if they have a car, right? There's a lot of ways to stop them nowadays. It's just a really good point that when a technology is new, people are going to find out how to exploit it, right? But it's worse. It's a lot worse with these technologies because people are exploiting them. They're exploiting them for experimentation, for advancing weapons and stuff like that, and not letting the public know. And the public has no access to them. So it is worse, in respect to integrated weapon system, directed energy integrated weapon systems. But that's a very, very good point.
Enforcement's job is to deal with the results, not to anticipate the results and try to prevent them from happening. Because by doing that, you bother and impede the American citizen. Okay, so basically it is the Justice Department that's gotten out of hand. They want to make their job easier. They want to be able to say there will be no crime ever anywhere because we're watching everything. Well, I'm sorry, that ain't going to happen. It has never happened in the history.
And I see it as worse than that, because y'all know in my last video I talked about the mass shootings, and I think they're causing crime. I think they're causing terrorism. They're attacking people, targeting people, and then gang stalking them and stuff like that. They're not only just surveilling people for information or to keep things from happening, they're making really bad things happen. So I just want to throw that in there. I just want to throw that in there, that I don't think that you know, how many people in the Justice Department really don't know that people are being tortured, right? How many do? How many don't? Uh, you know.
History of mankind, and crime has been with us since the first caveman stole a club from his friend or a stranger. It will always be with us. Same thing with the telephone. Do you realize that prior to the telephone,
You know, I think that crime will always be with us, but when crime becomes systematic, when it becomes systemic, not systematic, systemic, when the system is committing atrocity, when the system is creating crime, like human experimentation all across the board, right? Then it becomes like, oh, wait, hold on, the cops can't really fix that. That's a huge thing that has to be fixed within the system. It's different than just criminals running around doing a crime and then cops have to stop it. The crimes that are going on by the military industrial complex are systemic. They come from the system, and therefore they have to be stopped. It's not just like, oh, we'll just deal with it as it comes, right? But he's making a really good point about crime from the bottom up. And now I think the biggest evils and the biggest crimes are really top down. Those are our most severe, where it's like genocide could happen, like the destruction of the human race can happen. It's not just crime from organized crime families or just you know, certain groups, certain terrorism groups. It's like the system is doing severe crimes and saying, oh, well, we can, because of national security, we can make our own rules now. And I think that's the biggest danger. But he's making a really good point.
just into the telephone, the mob in America was very limited and pretty much powerless. What happened with the telephone? They were able to coordinate things from New York to Los Angeles in a second.
Right.
And as a result, became a nationwide organization with compos, with structure. Okay, should we not have had telephones because that created the mob? Bullshit, no. Law enforcement must deal with it after it happens, not anticipate it before. You know, they made a movie of this called Thought Crime. Not thought, it was with Tom Cruise or somebody, where they anticipated, you're going to do a crime, so we're going to arrest you.
Yep.
That's where we're headed if you don't stop this, people.
Absolutely.
You need to understand.
And maybe he's not targeted with neuroweapons, but it's worse than that. It's because they're using neuroweapons on people, you know, doing remote neural monitoring on innocent people who don't plan on doing crimes, but they have to justify it. So, and I can't prove this, right? I can't prove this, but this is what it feels like with my attackers doing this to me in the gang stalking. They tell people that I'm a danger, even though I don't plan on doing anything. But even if you have just a random thought that's not even something you're planning to do, and they can be like, oh, that's him planning to do something, right? So it's even worse than that already now with neuroweapons targeting and stuff like that, where it's like it can be an innocent person not planning on doing anything, but the system has to justify using all these resources on the individual, right? And they have to, you know, lie to people because they're experimenting, and lie to the people that don't know about the experimentation, say, hey, well, we're watching them because they're dangerous, so they lie about it. It's not even just trying to catch people before they commit crimes. It's already like that. So I mean, if it keeps continuing, it just gets more and more corrupt, But yeah, I mean, I just kind of, when he's saying stuff like that, I kind of compare it to the crimes of the military-industrial complex. But then it's like the cops are participating because they can't go and arrest people in the FBI or these private contractors and contractors. All they can really do is help them to gang stalk certain individuals, you know. So I feel like it's just way more messed up. Like it's way more messed up.
That when they say you have to give up a little freedom to get security, you're not going to get either one. The more freedom you give up, the less secure you become. This is an absolute fact.
Yeah.
But
That's
people
wrong.
don't want to find that. That's easier to swallow the propaganda that the Justice Department, through media agencies and the rest of the government, say, oh, you need this. We need to stop it. No, can't anticipate it and stop it before. Wait till it fucking happens and then deal with it. Please God. This is what life has always been. Because what we are doing is crippling ourselves by accepting these restrictions. And you see it happening now with Facebook and WhatsApp, saying you have to go as a backdoor into your encryption. We need to weaken it so that we can watch what people do. Who gets hurt? We do. We lose our privacy. And do you understand what privacy really is? Most people do not. You have probably never noticed that 100 or more times a day, you and every human being exercises consciously a privacy decision. When you're at the checkout stand and you're buying groceries, do you tell that clerk your entire life history? No, it is restricted to nice weather today. Price of tomatoes went up. What's the problem? Or how are you doing? To get over that cold, that's it. Thank you. Goodbye. For a casual acquaintance, what might you say? Hey, my name's John McAfee, and I work down just down the street. You know, live over here. Oh, really? Good. To a close friend, Jesus, Bob.
Okay, guys, so y'all can go and hear more of that. I do want to play the end part of the interview. Man, I don't know. He's in a Faraday bunker, and I just all the crap that the United States military-industrial complex and the government is doing to him. I don't see how he's not being targeted with these integrated weapon systems. He doesn't say so in this interview, and I don't think I've ever heard him mention anything like that. Please send me something if you have. I believe that he is. I believe that he is, but he's just kind of staying off of that topic and trying to talk about everything else, that kind of all the corruption and hacking of computers and everything, and hacking of our phones and data collection, and big corporations working with working with military agencies to do all this stuff. He kind of talks around it, but has very good points. And I think especially because he's running for president, right? He can't come out and say being hit with integrated directed energy weapon systems because a lot of the population is still in denial. It's getting better. I don't know how better it's getting because it's we're trying to pass around information at kind of a grassroots level, and we hear certain things from the mainstream media about like the Cuban embassy attack and the China consulate attack, but it's like, oh, it's still a mystery weapon, so I'm not sure. I think a lot of people should know by now, and I know it's going to get better. I mean, I hope that it gets better. I have a hope that it will get better. I gotta text them back in a second. So let me go to this end part of the interview just real quick. I just wanted to make this kind of a quick video, just telling y'all about this interview. To honor Mr. McAfee, to get this information out, and I really want y'all to go and just watch the whole interview, because he does talk a lot about cryptocurrencies at the beginning. It can help people to learn more about it. I still don't trust them. I don't really trust anything, I guess. I still think it's something that can be manipulated, but a lot of smart people do not think that. So I'm like, man, am I missing something here? Am I missing something here? I think that if good people own something like that, then maybe it can't be manipulated. But if they sell it to somebody corrupt or that's connected to the military-industrial complex, in a second it can be manipulated, and they can make their own cryptocurrency and just rule the market, right? I don't know. I'm probably missing something there. But if you really like cryptocurrency and you think it's going to save us, it's going to save the economy and save private citizens, please let me know in the comments, because I'd like to learn more. I never got into it. I just haven't had the energy or the time. But if John McAfee's saying it's great, I might start looking into it.
I think it's about that rather than about the infestation of mosquitoes. Because that's real. Seriously. Things on the news and the people debate, fuck me, touch me. I don't think they touch either of you. They don't touch any American except here in the mind through the propaganda of the political process, saying this affects you. No, it's your slave masters who gain or lose.
Well, they're touching me. There's no touch torture, but definitely directed energy weapons. Kind of adds to maybe he is just trying to block out hacking frequencies, and he's not attacked by directed. Still, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Lose in the story. And are they our slave masters? Ask yourself. The two of you know you have your own thing. The majority of Americans wake up in the morning, 6, 7, shower, run downstairs, have breakfast, kiss their spouse goodbye, their children, hop in a car, commute from 10 minutes to an hour, hop out, spend 8 hours in a wind airless office with artificial light, run back down to the car, commute home up to an hour, just in time to eat dinner, kiss your spouse goodnight, and pass out. And you do how long? A year, 2, 40 fucking years? What is slavery? Do you realize your life is the most precious thing you have? And what's it consist of? Time. You're born, you're all going to die. I'm closer than most of you, so I know more than most of you. The relevance and imminence of that moment. And before that happens, I want to live. I don't want to be a slave to a corporate structure that...
It's so important. It's so important. And I feel that so much. I feel him on that one. It's like, before I die, I want to live. I want to be the best I can no matter what circumstance I'm in, no matter if I'm getting, remote neural manipulated. I want to do whatever's good with that and help people. I want to truly live before I die because, everybody on a long enough time span, survival rate goes down to 0. That's from Fight Club. Our lives are short, and so we need to do the best we can with them and try and help people as much. I mean, that's the most valuable thing, our time, right? How much time does this targeting program take away from us? Time with my family. I know, and this is just, I'm just talking from my experience, but I know a lot of you are experiencing the same thing, right? Time away from my family, building a career, building a family and things like that. We're going to have to fight this thing and fight the targeting, but also live through the dust, right? We're going to have to, and I'm working at it, right? I'm working at it. It's a work in progress. I think as we find more things to take the pain away, but it's so important. It's so important, that we truly live before we die. And I know a lot of you guys are spiritual and are religious or Christians, and we do believe in something after this, but we don't know what that is. We've still got to use the time that we have on this earth the best that we can. It's just a very important message. I think fighting evil is a pretty good way to spend that time, but also to enjoy life, to enjoy being human, to enjoy the freedom that we do have, right? And I think a lot of targeted individuals who watch my videos are like, well, freedom, what are you talking about? There are things that we can control. There are things that we can still control, and it's super important. It's helped me to survive, to kind of, look at everything that's happening and say, what can I control here? What can I do right now? It's kept me alive. It's kept me, kept me keeping hope alive. Right? It's just so important. He says a lot of. Let's keep going with this a little while because he says something really important that I've said a lot of times, but he says it in a really cool way. He says it in a very, very cool way.
Benefits from my labor while convincing me that the pittance that it gives me is great. It's a bonus. It's good stuff. You're getting ahead. Keep this up for 2 years, you'll get a promotion. You can buy a new car and keep up with the Joneses. No, this is the worst kind of slavery. It's the slavery of the mind.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're wasting the most precious gift imaginable. Your time, your life. Good God, people, wake up.
Do you think it's too late for people to wake up, or do you?
I'd like to add something in there. She asked a really good question, but I'd also like to say, perception is very important. Like I've always talked about that with the targeting. It's something my attackers have damaged with the remote neural manipulation, how I perceive things, and I feel more trapped psychologically. Like my psychological state of mind from being remote neural manipulated and messed with mentally, and you know, depression from that, anxiety from that, it's changed my perception where I feel even less free. um, like, because at the beginning of this, right, I was being attacked, but my perception still hadn't been very, very damaged, and I still, you know, I still felt in control of my world. I still felt a lot of hope and things like that. And our attackers, like people, the pieces of crap and the autonomous system, autonomous systems that are attacking us, the AI, can really uh, cage your perception. And so perception is very important. If you want to live a free, happy life with love, you have to perceive things correctly, and you've got to perceive your own power and your own meaningfulness. Like, you mean a lot in this world, in this program. It's made me kind of, you know, and I'm winning this battle, but it's made me feel like just so many horrible, bizarre variables came into my life, and I'm like, I felt less of a destiny, right? I felt more of a destiny before the targeting, like my life, man, God made me, and I have this great destiny ahead of me, and this kind of attacked that. So I'm in the process of getting that back. We need to get that back. We maybe even have a more meaningful life because of this, because of what's happening to us.
Do you see more people waking up?
Here's the issue. If I wake up one person, I've succeeded.
Right.
And if that person wakes up one. See, people go, well, what do we do? What do we do? Why don't you wake up first and then decide what to do? If we're in a movie theater and there's a fire, but the movie is so enthralling no one notices, do I have to have a fucking plan? No. Hey, dude, look, there's a fire. And he goes, oh my God. And we all wake each other up. What do? We run for the fucking exits. We don't have to have a plan. Well, let's see, before you wake anybody up, what's the plan? No. Wake the fuck up and see the truth. And trust me, your heart and mind will know what to do. It will know what to do. I don't have to tell you. Just accept the truth of your situation in this nightmarish world that has evolved over the past 75 years.
It's a process, though, don't you?
That is awesome. That's why I make these videos. That's why a lot of other targeted individuals make these videos, because the deal is, we're like, hey, what do we do about this, right? Court cases, is it rallies? Do we need to speak to politicians? But the thing is, when you're spreading awareness, so when so many people become aware and they all start looking for solutions, right? When they all start, everybody's looking for solutions now. More and more people are understanding that there's this targeting program, there's all this corruption, and more people are becoming aware, and they're doing very intelligent things, right? There's going to be stuff that's really successful, and it's going to head towards that way. When people become aware, it's super important. It's super important. Even if you can't figure, and like, you know, I make these videos, and I'm working on other things too. But it's like we keep hitting some walls. We keep hitting walls, so I keep coming back to this, building awareness. Those things that we're hitting walls on, those are going to crumble, because more and more people are going to be, very smart people are going to be trying to figure this stuff out all together. So just awareness is the most important thing. I think a lot of other targeted individuals speaking out, so many, they think that they're thinking on the same wavelength. And it's like, we don't know how. Right now I can't say all this is going to end with a single court case, with a single class action suit, and I know it. And I know I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I know if we keep building awareness and keep letting people know, and it keeps growing, it's going to head to that what we can't see, the turnout we can't see of these evil things being stopped. The more and more people know, it will be an instinctive thing. People will be working with their connection to God too, and it will work out. You know, people will stop this stuff with the more and more of us that become aware and awake of these corrupt things in our society. It's super important, because nobody knows. Nobody can say this is how it's going to turn out. Like, even people who say, like, And sometimes I get like this. I'm like, I don't know. It seems like things are getting worse. I don't know if they can be stopped. People don't know. Even the most intelligent people, with how complicated the system is and how corrupt it's gotten, but there's all these people becoming aware and becoming awake, and people have a lot of power. The public has way more power than they could suspect, and that's they're mind controlled to think they don't have a lot of power to change the system. But the more and more people that become aware of stuff and say, no, 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 we don't want our kids being murdered and our families being murdered, it makes a huge difference. The more and more people that come out and say that. So it's just such an incredibly important point. And if you are a targeted individual out there who's like, man, I've thought about making YouTube videos, but I have to build a channel and stuff like that, and it's just like, it's not going to do any good anyway. If you make one person aware, it spreads. That hope, that information, like, it spreads, and they spread it, and they spread it, and they spread it, and it's contagious. Everything human is contagious. That's a very important thing that we have to understand, right? Fear is contagious. Anxiety is contagious. Depression is contagious. Joy is contagious. Hope is contagious. Love is contagious, right? So there's this, my favorite comic book author is Grant. Well, no, not my favorite, but one of my favorites is Grant Morrison, and he, I don't know if he's a Mason or whatever, but he has a great saying that's infect back. Infect back. These evil systems are infecting the human population of the world, right? And so good human beings that want what's good for their families and don't want to live in corruption and mind control, we have to infect back, and it makes such a huge difference. Obviously, as one person, you can't infect the entire world, right? There's going to be some people with more influence, big names, and they have titles and stuff like that, and they're going to have more influence, but no matter who you are, you can still make a difference. No matter who you are, you can still make it. And I speak from experience, because I don't have a title. I sometimes wish I had a doctorate, because people, I think, would listen to my information more, but I don't. So, but you know what I'm saying. Anybody, even if you don't have an authoritative title or whatever, you can still make a huge difference. If your information is good, you look into the information. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about if you're a doctor or not, or what your title, or what you did in life. And I'm not talking about myself. I've done some pretty cool stuff in life, so I've got some pretty good credentials, but I do wish I had a doctorate. If I had a doctorate in the stuff that I was researching into the neuroweapons and stuff, I think people in some of the solutions that I found, I think people are like, oh, well, he's a doctor, we got to listen to him. But since it's just little old Kyle, they're like, oh, well, lots of people say they know what's going on. Let's click on the next video. And I'm not saying everybody does that, but y'all know what I'm talking about. So I kind of got sidetracked. Let's let him move on. But that's a very important point. I think it's a great metaphor. It's like when you're in a theater that's on fire, and that's a great metaphor for our society. People are so focused on the screen, and it's burning down. And you just say, hey, there's a fire in the theater, buddy. And when enough people know about it, people are going to start heading towards the door. They're going to instinctually do what they need to do to survive. And that's going to be our greatest hope in this fight. This is going to be our greatest hope in this fight.
You find that it's a process for people to wake up. I even feel like I went through the stages of grieving, like I bargained and I'm like, no, it can't happen. And then I was like, oh, it's happening, and then I felt like I couldn't do anything. And then eventually I accepted it, and I knew and figured out the things that I could
because
do.
we all grow up thinking, we're supposed to, America, the greatest country in the world, and our government would never do us wrong. And so it's a big slap in the face. There's a huge awakening going on right now.
It's either a process or it's...
He looks targeted to me. John McAfee looks like he's coughing and stuff like that, and I know he probably smokes or whatever. It looks like he's very uncomfortable, like he's getting... I just don't think I think even if he was, he would not go into that territory. He wouldn't talk about it, because he wants to do things where a lot of the population who doesn't believe in this stuff yet has to accept him and accept what he's saying. So he's trying to touch on the outer skirts of it. Um, I wish that a lot of influential people, if this is happening to them, I hope they start coming out and taking that risk. I'm not saying anything about him. He's speaking out for humanity's good, so I'm very glad that he's speaking out. But I just, man, Faraday bunker and everything. I don't think he's just jamming hacking signals because McAfee, right? He should be able to have something in his computer, get whatever they put in out of his computer to stop hacking. I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I guess I don't know. I've got to say I don't know, but I got a feeling that he is targeted with remote neuro weapons, with remote directed energy weapons. That's my feeling on it. That's my instinct on it.
It's not. It depends on how you're awoken. Somebody throws your ass in prison and you lose everything.
Yeah.
You have a different attitude and you wake up pretty damn fast.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
If you absorb and assimilate slowly, I don't know. I don't care how fast or slow, but please God, wake up, everybody. Wake up, America. If you do.
And I really can't add anything better to that. He's a very smart man, but it's like, even if something is it feels socially unacceptable, but we know it's right, people have to get past that. They have to break those mental blocks and that fear, because it's more important for our future to talk about things, even if they're uncomfortable, than to not talk about them and they fester and they get worse. And then look at all these mass shootings. Look at all these acts of terrorism, and then a clampdown on the public, right, in every country by the military industrial. Things are getting worse. They're getting more sick because people don't feel like it's socially acceptable to confront certain things. They're like, oh, no, those people, like, I believe what they're saying is true, right? There's probably a lot of people like this that are like, wow, targeted individuals, there can't be that many people who just got this magical mental illness, right? That's a crazy conspiracy theory. That's the craziest conspiracy theory of them all, that there's just this new mass hysteria combined with mental illness that attaches it gets into some people. It's insane. But there's some people that are like, well, I believe them, but that's so dangerous and it could hurt me. And I don't want to talk about that, and I don't want to look at it. And it'll pass me over, right? And that's not the case. If things are left, really sick, corrupt things are left to run their course without stopping them, they get worse because greedy people want them to get worse and they want to push their agendas. So it's so important, even if you feel like something's socially unacceptable, to have courage and speak about it. Like, especially for targeted individuals. I know you're like, man, people are gonna think I think that too. A lot of people think I'm nuts for talking about this or whatever. It's true. It's gonna come out. More and more people are gonna learn about it because it is happening. So it's like, we will be vindicated. That will happen. You don't have to worry about that. Like right now, maybe it's uncomfortable with a couple of people, maybe not thinking that you're going through what you're saying, right? But it is happening. It is happening. So the only inevitability is that people will know about it, unless all of society, like a huge percentage of the human population, is wiped out and history is rewritten. If that doesn't happen, and things keep going as they are, people have to know about this. They're gonna know about it, right? Unless there's some kind of end of the human race event that happens, people will know about targeted individuals. They will know about remote neuroweapons. It's an inevitability. It's only when. So I just want to encourage, targeted individuals who, you're like, oh, people are always going to think I'm crazy. You will be vindicated. Like it will be in a couple of years that even if the program's not stopped, that people will, it'll mostly be common knowledge. I think I really do feel like we're getting into that territory where this is common knowledge. It's at the breaking the ice point, right? And I really feel that. It's hard to prove it because we're putting out all this grassroots information and we're not really being vindicated by the mainstream media as much as we want. So it's hard to tell, right? And so many target individuals don't speak out. They don't get on the conference calls. They don't get on YouTube and everything like that. So it's hard to tell, where it all stands. But I really think we're getting to a place where it's like, this is going to be common knowledge. It's happening. This isn't, no offense to flat earthers, right? No offense to flat earthers. I have friends that are flat earthers, and they're very intelligent. I see why they don't trust anything. I don't think that we live on a flat earth, right? And there's a lot of evidence to conclude that. But what's happened is you've had all these people, and I've said this many times, you've had all these people come out and trying to debunk it and everything like that. And there's been these conversations, and it's led to more and more people really not believing in flat Earth. But in our case, it's different. This is something that's happening. It's happening in every community. The more we talk about it, even if people come and try and debunk it with all the evidence that's laid out, right? There's more and more there's better evidence every day of these crimes. People don't try and debunk it. Do you notice that? Do you notice there were a couple of videos made a couple of years ago kind of making fun of gang stalking, but never talking about the directed energy weapons research or anything like that? They can't. There's too much evidence. I would welcome debunkers on this topic. I really, really hope that sooner than later there are people that say, oh man, those targeted, we got to debunk that, because within those conversations, because this is happening, it will come out. The truth is not scared, right? The truth is not scared of whatever anybody says. This is happening. So, I mean, I would welcome that, just to have more and more people talking about it. I think that you see a lot of very intelligent cynics and debunkers. They don't touch this topic. They don't touch it because they know it's real. And they don't want to. They're like, oh well, people think I'm crazy, and I can't debunk it because it's really happening. So I can't really say it's happening because then my viewers are going to think I'm crazy. So they just don't mention it. Like a lot of people who really internet detectives or whatever they call themselves. I don't know if they all call themselves that, but you know the type of people. They're like debunkers and cynics and stuff like that. Not a lot of them touch this issue. So I mean that's how that's one of the very small things where you can tell that this is really happening, right?
Wake up to your reality. Drop all the propaganda. Forget everything that you have learned from the media. Open your eyes and look the fuck around. That's all you got to do. I mean, how hard
Talk
is
to
that?
people.
Well,
Talk to
I think
about what
that'll
people are
happen when people
experiencing.
aren't so selfish, because
Communicate with people.
most people are given just enough to get by and to be happy, and there's a lot of people out there that are suffering real bad, and people don't care about that as long as
And
I'm
the
happy and
older
comfortable.
people, too, yeah.
Okay, and guess what? Our comfortable really isn't that comfortable, because it's what you said. It's a rat race. We're getting up the same time every day. We're going
Working
through
for
traffic. We're coming home. We're stressed out. We're getting into arguments. We're getting divorced.
All right, guys. So I just wanted to show those short clips, but please go and check that out. It's a great interview. He's a smart man. The reason why I rushed to make a video about this is because of the Faraday bunker. So I'll just tell you all that. It caught my eye. Somebody sent it to me, and I was like, he's in a Faraday bunker. Does that mean he's being targeted by directed energy weapons? Does that mean he's being targeted by remote neural weapons? Does he maybe not know? Are they doing it to him in a way where it's not no external hits, and it's just messing with his mind, and he just thinks that's stress from all the other stuff that's happening? I don't know. But I have an instinct that he is. I have an instinct that he's not only being targeted by the United States government to try and get him back here and put him in jail for not paying his taxes or whatever. And he talks about that at the beginning of the interview, so please watch that. But I think that he's targeted with directed energy weapons. I think that I think that so many people are targeted, and it's starting to become like I see those shooters. I'm not comparing John McAfee to mass shooting, to the people who did the mass shootings, but I see it so much in society where it's like, that smacks of this targeting program. It smacks of mind control, but I feel like also at the same time I'm like, oh, Julian Assange is a targeted individual, John McAfee is a targeted individual. I'm just saying what I really want to say is that we need to know. We need to know more. We need to know more. We need to get it out that this program exists so that people can be everybody, not just targeted individuals, can be looking at these situations and say, oh, was remote mind control involved in that? And it needs to be investigated. Like we need to have methods of investigating that, right? I guess that's, common knowledge of where we need to go. But I thought that was a great interview. A very smart man. Looks like he's really uncomfortable in a lot of the interview physically, and so it gives me this instinct that, yeah, they're going after him. I mean, they're going after him with the technology that they have to go after people and to silence whistleblowers, which is, remote directed energy weapons. The military-industrial complex has it. Not only agencies, but contractors and subcontractors under the DoD also. So, yeah, I see it as very obvious. I don't know. Maybe, a lot of people that are probably hit by this who are very high profile, they maybe don't say anything about it, because they know how it's going to be received from a certain percentage of the population. And that's why we need to, make people way more aware. And that's what we're doing. We're not stopping. Guys, I feel pretty good today. Like I'm trying to enjoy it and just be like, oh, this is going to be good. But, as a targeted individual, anything too good is like, got to poke it with a 10-foot pole, right? I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to just meditate and thank God for that. I can still hear the V2K a little bit, but I can't hear what they're saying, and it's kind of like, you really you have to try it, but it interferes with like everything that they're doing, to me at least, how I'm being targeted. And I don't want to talk about my external hits. I don't think it's going to affect that. But like I said in my other videos, external hits get mixed in with the remote neural manipulation because they can definitely copy an EEG of when you've been hit by an external hit, right? And then they can use remote neural manipulation to put that back on your brain. That's not a very technical explanation of it, but y'all understand what I'm saying. So it's really, the priority is to interfere with the entrainment to the brain and the nervous system. From my standpoint, that's the priority of targeting. Everything else is important: gang stalking, the external microwave hits from the integrated directed energy weapon systems. But the priority that I see so that those things will become easier is cutting into this entrainment, this remote neural manipulation, this mind control, this entrainment of the nervous system brain. And I say it all the time, so y'all know. So that's it, guys. I just wanted to pass along this interview so y'all could go watch it, and I kind of wanted to comment on those clips. He's a smart man. Like we've got to live our lives while we fight this. I'm still trying. Like I stay isolated, and I'd like to get out more. I'd like to have more of a life. So I'm going to struggle to do that, to get some defenses and stuff like that. But as we know, with God, nothing is impossible. It's only impossible. There's this it's a meme. It's a good meme with Jean-Luc Picard where it says something is only impossible until it is not impossible. And that's how I live my life by. It seems like this is impossible in certain situations, in certain times in our life. But if we keep going at it and we don't give up and we keep hope, we're not consumed by how evil it is and how screwed up it's made our life, and we kind of, okay, well, I'm living today. Some bad things have happened. Some very bad things are happening, but I got to make things better, and I've got to live better, and I've got to be more positive anyway, no matter what kind of crushing tragedies are involved in our life, right? So we can start getting to that light. We can start moving towards that light. I'm not going to say it. I know y'all think I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. Darkness rises and the light to meet it. I'm sorry. I had to say it. I think that's the coolest thing, and it's what I've experienced with this. Darkness tried to consume my life. I'm in a much stronger point now, not just because of the hearing aids, but just fighting this for so long. Me and another targeted individual friend were talking about this last night, where it's like this really does strengthen us spiritually if we allow it to. If we keep resisting physically and mentally, and keep our keep our spirit very strongly connected to God. It can make us just strong in ways that we never knew, never knew how strong we could be. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I wish I could have done a live stream. I'm going to work all that out. I started the live stream, and I was going to try and hook it up to my power record, this thing that I'm on now. But I'm just gonna wait on it. I didn't want to mess with it today. All right, guys, I love y'all. And there is still, I can still go live with just my webcam, but I can't screen share. So maybe if I don't work everything out in the next couple of days, I'll just do I'll do a live stream where I can get on my just get on my camera, and then we can just talk or something like that, because I definitely want to do another live stream soon. All right, guys, I love y'all. Thank you for all your comments, everybody. I do read them all, even if I don't respond to them. And just stay strong. So many great, courageous, targeted individuals out there. And I'd really start moving towards, even if you don't have V2K, but you feel like you have very powerful remote neural manipulation, start moving towards trying some noise canceling hearing aids. I'm starting to get a lot more excited about my visit with Dr. Hoffer, and I'm starting to think that he knows a lot about this, because that solution is incredible, and it seems like he knows how this kind of works, like James Giordano. He knows actually about how it's being, and he probably doesn't, in those presentations, he may not come out and say as much as he wants to, because national security, and there's some things that are only for, what is it, certain clearances, there's another way to say it, on a need-to-know basis or whatever. But I'm getting really excited about that, because this solution that he gave to Jax is too good to be true right now. It's too good to be true. But it doesn't feel like my attackers are meddling with it. And I'm so glad that Mike came out and spoke out about it, because I would have just used him a couple of hours. I don't know why I did that. That's incredible, because okay, let's learn a lesson from that too. Let's learn a lesson. I'm learning a lesson. We got to try things for a while. Don't try them for, and like I was saying, some targeted individuals are like, if it doesn't work right away, it doesn't work. No, guys, let's correct that. Let's correct that. Even targeted individuals that are saying that, I've learned the opposite. I've learned you got to try things for a while, because of the cumulative effect, the cumulative conductivity, the basically, like, I feel like these noise canceling hearing aids are splitting up a circuit, a frequency circuit, right? It's like there's this loop going on, and I think the inner ear is a huge part of a pathway into the brain, right? The vestibular system, a pathway to the brain. I feel like it's a huge part that they use. So it feels like it's, what's the word for it? It feels like it's breaking a circuit, a frequency circuit. It's cutting into it, All right, guys, I love y'all. Just go check out that interview, and I'll see y'all soon. Oh, an hour. That's better than 2 hours, right? Unless you want a lot of me. I know. I'm joking, guys. I'll see y'all in the next one. I love y'all.